Okay, just stay with me. We're almost there. Oh, God, don't do this to me now. Please.
Keep driving. No matter what you see. His voice was calm, but his eyes, those eyes, were pure fear. The rain hammered the windshield as headlights appeared behind them, too close, too fast. Monique's hands shook on the wheel. She was just a driver, just trying to make rent. But the man in her back seat, he was no ordinary passenger. The smell of whiskey, the suit, the silence, everything screamed danger. Then, the gunshot shattered the night. This is the untold story of a lonely black mother and the powerful man she never meant to save. Welcome, story lovers. From where are you watching? Hit the like button and drop your city name in the comments so we can see how far our story travels. It was the kind of night that made silence feel heavier than sound. The city slept beneath a layer of fog, streetlights flickering like dying stars. Monique tightened her worn coat and adjusted the rearview mirror of her old rideshare car. The heater coughed weakly, fighting the chill that seeped through the windows. Another long night behind the wheel. Another night to keep the lights on for her son. She had been driving since sunset, chasing fares through the empty streets. Every ride was a different story. A drunk executive, a nervous couple, a lost tourist. But for Monique, it was just survival. A single black mother in a city that forgot people like her existed. She'd learned to smile when insulted, to swallow the sting of judgmental stares, to stay quiet when tips disappeared after a passenger saw her face in the mirror. Still, she carried herself with quiet pride. Every shift was a promise, to her boy sleeping at home, dreaming of a life she could barely afford. She wasn't bitter, just tired. Tired of being unseen. Tired of pretending that dignity could pay the bills. The rain began to fall in thin, icy sheets, tapping against the windshield like restless fingers. She pulled into a dimly lit gas station to check her phone. One last ride before heading home. A new request flashed on the screen. Pickup, downtown club district. Something about it made her hesitate. The name attached to the ride, V. Romano, looked unfamiliar but expensive. The fare was high, unusually so. She sighed and accepted. The map guided her toward a part of town she usually avoided after midnight. Broken neon signs buzzed overhead, and shadows moved where they shouldn't. Monique didn't know it yet, but the man she was about to pick up ruled a world far darker than the night itself. And before sunrise, their lives would be bound by something neither of them could escape. The club district pulsed like a heartbeat, loud, erratic, and alive with danger. Music thumped through the walls as Monique pulled up to the curb. Her headlights caught the silhouette of a man leaning against a lamppost, suit soaked from the rain, cigarette dangling between his fingers. He didn't move when she rolled down the window, just stared with the kind of look that made her uneasy. Then, slowly, he opened the back door and slid in. The smell of whiskey hit her first. Sharp, expensive, overwhelming. His tie hung loose, his shirt collar undone. He didn't say much, just murmured an address slurred with power and exhaustion. Monique typed it into the GPS and pulled away, her hands steady on the wheel. For a moment, the only sound was the wipers dragging across the windshield. Then he spoke. "You always drive alone this late?" His voice carried the weight of someone used to being obeyed. "Bills don't pay themselves," she said quietly, eyes on the road. He chuckled, a low, humorless sound. "You're braver than most," she didn't answer. She didn't like small talk with men like him, the kind who could buy silence, who never had to earn safety. But there was something different about his tone. Beneath the arrogance, she caught something she didn't expect. Pain. As they passed under a bridge, a black SUV pulled up behind them, headlights too bright, too close. Monique's chest tightened. She glanced at the mirror. The man's eyes met hers. For the first time, he didn't look drunk. He looked alert. "Keep driving," he said, voice sharp now. "Don't stop for anyone," her pulse spiked. "Who are they?" He didn't answer. Instead, he reached into his coat. For one terrifying second, she thought it was a weapon, but it was just a phone, buzzing nonstop. He ignored it, muttering curses under his breath. Rain pounded harder. The SUV followed for miles, every turn, every light. Monique's hands trembled as she gripped the steering wheel. "If this is some kind of setup—" "It's not," he interrupted. "You're just in the wrong place at the wrong time." Her throat went dry. "Then tell me what's happening." He stared out the window, jaw tight. "Let's just say not everyone likes it when you stop playing by their rules." His words hung heavy in the air. She didn't fully understand, but she recognized the tone of a man haunted by enemies and by choices. When the SUV finally turned off, Monique exhaled, realizing she'd been holding her breath for miles. The man leaned back, silent again, lost somewhere far beyond the rain-slicked glass. But as they neared his mansion, a gated estate on the hill, two guards stepped out, their faces cold, their eyes fixed on her. They whispered something to him, then glared at her through the window. She knew that look. She'd seen it her whole life, the look that said, "You don't belong here." And though she didn't yet understand who he was, Monique could already feel it. Whatever world this man ruled, it wasn't built for someone like her. Yet tonight, fate had decided to let her in. The gates creaked open, and Monique's tires rolled slowly onto the long, winding driveway. The mansion loomed ahead, gold light spilling from its windows, the kind that spoke of power and secrets. She stopped the car near the front steps, unsure if she should talk or wait. The man, V. Romano, looked at her then, really looked at her, as if seeing her for the first time through the haze of liquor and regret. "Wait here," he muttered, stepping out into the rain. But before he reached the door, shouting erupted from inside. Two men stormed out, faces twisted in anger, guns barely hidden beneath their coats. Monique's breath caught. Romano turned sharply, his voice low but commanding. "Get back inside." They didn't listen. One pointed toward her car. "She saw everything," one of them barked. "You're getting sloppy, Vince." For a split second, Romano hesitated, his world of loyalty and blood colliding with the reality of the woman who'd just driven him home. Monique fumbled for the keys, her instincts screaming to leave. But when one man took a step toward her, Romano moved faster. A warning shot cracked through the night. "Back off!" he roared, rain running down his face like tears he'd never admit to shedding. Silence followed, heavy and tense. The men retreated, muttering curses under their breath. Romano turned to her, eyes dark with something between guilt and gratitude. "Go," he said softly. "Before this world swallows you too. Dear audience, where are you watching from? Drop your city name in the comments!" Monique drove away with trembling hands, headlights cutting through the storm. The mansion disappeared behind her, but its shadows followed. The echo of that gunshot lingered in her mind, mixing with the man's final words, "Before this world swallows you too." She didn't know what kind of world he lived in, only that it had nearly taken her with it. When she finally reached her small apartment, dawn was breaking. Her son's laughter drifted from the bedroom, innocent and warm. She leaned against the doorframe, tears blurring her vision. For the first time in years, she felt the fragility of the life she fought for every night, the kind of life that didn't make headlines or hold power, but mattered all the same. The next morning, an envelope slid under her door. No return name. Inside, a note written in rushed, uneven letters. "For what you risked." And beneath it, a stack of cash that could cover months of rent. Monique sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the money. Gratitude battled unease. Was it kindness or guilt? She would never know. But she decided on one thing. That night would not define her as a victim. It would remind her of her worth, the kind of strength people overlook until it's tested. Some nights still, she'd see a black SUV in the distance and wonder if he was safe. Because sometimes, even in a world divided by race and power, compassion crosses the most dangerous lines. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more powerful, true inspired stories that move hearts and open eyes.